Tonight, federal investigators have stormed Chicago O'Hare International Airport, seizing 818 pounds of fentanyl.
At 11:47 p.m. on a freezing night in Chicago, Illinois, a federal official stepped into a secure briefing room and delivered 7 words that sounded less like a headline and more like a warning. "We have dismantled a cartel-controlled airport." Then the numbers hit like blunt force. 8,818 pounds of fentanyl, 230 arrests, and a list of compromised insiders so specific it made the room go quiet. Baggage handlers, security officers, airfield personnel, even people with access to gate schedules and restricted corridors. What federal agents say they uncovered inside O'Hare isn't a smuggling story. It's an infrastructure story, because this wasn't contraband slipping through cracks. This was the cracks being engineered on purpose. And the next part is worse. 4:32 a.m., O'Hare International Airport, Chicago, Illinois. The terminal lights burn cold against a low winter fog rolling off Lake Michigan. Runways sit under a dull orange glow. The air smells like jet fuel and de-icer. Everything looks normal from a distance. Up close, it's a machine waiting to be seized. 36 black SUVs move into restricted zones from 6 entry points at the same time. Not chaotic, not loud, controlled, timed to the minute. FBI, ICE, Customs and Border Protection, Homeland Security investigations, SWAT teams in full tactical gear, night vision mounted, rifles tight to the chest, moving like a coordinated shadow through the veins of the airport. They hit 9 locations at once. A baggage sorting facility where conveyor belts never stop. A cargo transfer hub stacked with shrink-wrapped pallets. TSA break rooms. Maintenance tunnels that run behind walls the public never sees. Private hangars on the south side. A freight forwarding warehouse miles off-site. And deep beneath concourse, C, a restricted basement storage zone that doesn't appear on any public airport map. Flashbangs detonate in sharp, synchronized bursts. Doors get ripped off hinges. Agents flood in, shouting commands that echo off concrete and metal. Suspects hit the floor, hands out, faces down, boots sliding on tiles still slick with hydraulic residue. A baggage handler tries to run with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. He makes it 3 steps before a CBP agent takes him down. The bag splits. White powder scatters across the floor like snow. Fentanyl. In the cargo hub, agents find pallets stacked 8 feet high, shrink-wrapped in black plastic and labeled as industrial cleaning supplies. They slice one open. Compressed narcotics. Hundreds of bricks, stamped with cartel insignias like branding. Cocaine, methamphetamine, fentanyl pills pressed to look like prescription medication. The kind of product designed to disappear into everyday America. But the real shock isn't the drugs. It's what they find behind the walls. A basement storage room with false panels built into the original structure. Old concrete carved open and turned into something new. Inside, steel-reinforced lockers, encrypted tablets, manifest logs written in code, and a wall-mounted server rack still warm to the touch, hard drives spinning with real-time data. One agent pulls up a file, a master schedule, flight numbers, galt assignments, baggage cart routes, TSA shift rotations, all cross-referenced with incoming shipments tracked by weight, origin city, and distribution route. This isn't a smuggling ring. This is a cartel-operated logistics network running inside a U.S. transportation hub. 7:18 a.m., FBI Cyber Forensics Division, Chicago Field Office. Analysts sit in near darkness, faces lit by cascading code. The tablets and drives from the airport are on the table like captured organs. They crack the encryption, peel back the layers, and what appears on the monitors makes the room go still. The operation has a name, Project Skybridge. Not just O'Hare, a network spanning 12 major U.S. airports, with O'Hare as the nerve center. The primary distribution node pushing narcotics into the Midwest, the East Coast, and routes that bleed north. The digital map unfolds like a spiderweb. Shell companies registered in states known for anonymity. Freight forwarding firms with addresses that don't exist. logistics contractors with fake employee rosters, airport service providers whose invoices are laundered through offshore accounts. Money flows in cycles. Cartel cash funnels into sham aviation companies. Those companies win contracts to service luggage systems, refuel planes, manage cargo inspection. Once embedded, they move narcotics through the same channels used for legitimate freight, hidden inside electronics, auto parts, frozen food, even medical supplies. And then the analysts find the key: an encrypted authorization signature appearing on every high-value shipment. Not a street name, not a cartel alias. A real person with a real badge and a real office. Marcus Treadwell, fictional Deputy Director of Operations for the Chicago Regional Airport Authority. 22 years of spotless service. Commendations for efficiency improvements. A reputation as a logistics genius. His digital signature unlocks cartel communication channels buried inside airport scheduling software. His access key appears wherever the biggest shipments move. And when investigators peel back his finances, the numbers don't whisper. They scream. Millions in unexplained deposits routed through a fake consulting firm with no clients, no office, no footprint. Except one, a freight company tied to cartel leadership in Mexico. Treadwell didn't just let them in. He built the door. He gave them the keys. And he made sure no one else could see it. This is not corruption. This is command-level collusion. And the operation has just begun. 6:02 a.m. Joint Operations Command Center, DHS Midwest Division. A massive digital wall displays a real-time map of 5 states. 73 red markers pulse like infected nodes, each one tied to Skybridge. Storage facilities, trucking depots, stash houses, distribution hubs hidden inside legitimate businesses, body shops, car washes, furniture warehouses. And beneath the city, service tunnels connecting the airport to rail yards and industrial zones where narcotics are offloaded, repackaged, and shipped nationwide. FBI Special Agent Malacrosse stands in the center of the room and gives the order. All units execute. Within minutes, over 1,000 federal agents deploy across state lines. Black Hawk helicopters lift off from staging zones, rotors tearing through the dawn air. Armored vehicles roll through city streets. Strike teams breach a cartel super lab hidden inside an abandoned industrial plant. Industrial pill presses churning out fentanyl pills at a rate that turns minutes into body counts. In another location, agents storm a migrant smuggling transit house where people are held as collateral, forced to work routes, forced to carry product, forced to stay silent. In Milwaukee, a trucking company gets cracked open, cocaine concealed inside refrigerator shells. Back at O'Hare, CBP agents descend into a maintenance tunnel system that runs parallel to transit lines. There, they find what they've been hunting for: a drug tunnel, not dug from abroad, built into the airport's original infrastructure and modified over years. It connects a private hangar directly to an off-site warehouse controlled by the cartel. Rail carts, hydraulic lifts, shrink-wrap remnants still clinging to pallets like shed skin. By the time the first press conference airs, the seizure totals read like a war report. Thousands of pounds of fentanyl, tons of cocaine and methamphetamine, millions of fentanyl pills, millions in cash, firearms, some of them built for distance, not defense, and 230 arrests, cartel members, corrupt employees, logistics coordinators, and one high-ranking official who thought he was untouchable. The underworld took more damage in 6 hours than it had in the last 6 years. 2:34 p.m., FBI Evidence Analysis Unit, Chicago. Now comes the part that breaks trust. Investigators comb through personnel files, shift logs, internal messages, and access records. What they find isn't random corruption. It's organized staffing. Security officers paid monthly to wave specific bags through without scanning. Baggage handlers trained to identify cartel shipments by weight, tape color, routing tags, rerouting luggage mid-transfer, and delivering it to drivers waiting in employee lots. Airfield personnel leaking real-time information. Who's watching? Which routes are hot? when surveillance aircraft are overhead. And whenever someone honest noticed irregularities, the system didn't correct itself. It redirected the problem. Reports buried, employees reassigned, questions punished. Because Skybridge didn't just infiltrate a facility, it built a second system inside it. A parallel enforcement network designed to protect the cartel, not the country. And now that second system is being ripped apart. 11:50 p.m., FBI National Operations Center, Washington, D.C. Analysts zoom out from Chicago. The map expands to show the United States like a body under X-ray. Routes branching into Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, St. Louis, and beyond. Trucks reclassified as furniture shipments. Manifests altered at the source. Way stations bypassed during maintenance windows scheduled by people who controlled the infrastructure. And then they find one final file tied to Treadwell's encrypted key. Phase 3. Expand to more airports. Recruit more insiders. Establish permanent cartel-controlled logistics hubs in major U.S. cities. Turn aviation into a narcotics superhighway that enforcement can't shut down. Because once you control the infrastructure, you don't need to hide. You just operate. Power doesn't always announce itself with violence. Sometimes it wears a badge and a calm smile. Sometimes it hides in spreadsheets and shifts schedules. Sometimes it moves through places we trust, airports, freight corridors, public systems designed to keep us safe. And the cost isn't abstract. It's written in overdoses that never make national news. In emergency rooms that run out of beds. In families who bury someone and never get a clean answer for how it happened so fast. This story is fictional, an intense dramatization inspired by real issues, not real news. But the warning is real. If you're still watching, tap like so more people see it. Comment, expose, if you believe corruption like this should be dragged into the light. Share it with someone who thinks infiltration always looks like an invasion. Because sometimes it looks like a contract, a promotion, a quiet approval nobody questions. And the next time you walk through an airport, ask yourself one question: who's really in control?